Hi, in this lesson we are going to learn how to insert the cams, the axle, and the followers to get this to happen. So as we rotate the axle, you can see the cams rotating and the followers bouncing up and down on top of the box. Alright, so let's get started. First thing we had to do was draw out these cams. We used a hex cam and a pair cam for this activity, and we have to draw out the axle and the follower. So let's start with the axle because that's pretty simple. All we did was draw a circle on the right plane, dimension that to be 0.5. Then we extruded that circle 6 inches. That gave us our axle. The follower was pretty much the same thing. I just drew this instead on the top plane because it's going to be facing up and down. And this was a little smaller. So my circle, instead of being a 0.5, is now 0.25. So a quarter inch instead of a half inch. And that extruded from, I did 4 inches for that one, a little bit smaller. We didn't need it to be quite as tall. All right, so those are our two axle and followers. We also drew a hex cam, which was pretty simple. I drew this on the right plane. Here are our dimensions for the hex cam. Of course, we used the polygon tool. Inscribed polygon is the one we used. We dimensioned this inscribed polygon to be 2.5 diameter. It's a hexagon, so make sure it had 6 sides, so 6x. And we needed that little hole in the center, so we have a hole here in the center, measured at 0.5, the same width as our axle. Once we had that done, we went ahead and extruded it a quarter inch, 0.25 on this extrude. That gave us a nice hex cam. Last thing we had to do was add a fillet, because if we don't do this fillet, these sharp edges, when we tried to rotate this hex cam, we were having trouble with our follower guiding these edges. So we got to make sure that we round those off a little bit. So you can see it's not as sharp, it's kind of rounded off. So I used the 0.5 inch fillet here. I think you can go smaller than that. I think mine was a little bit too rounded. You might try maybe 0.3. That might probably work for you. But that's the last thing we did, is we rounded off our edges using that fillet. So that's the hex cam. The pair cam was a little bit more difficult. Took a few more steps. I might have to maybe make a separate video for this one, or maybe I'll do that right now. So basically how you make this is you start out with a circle and measure 2.5, and then another smaller circle. You can see we got a smaller circle up here that measures 0.5. So right above that, right above this circle, that the big circle we just created, we're going to make a second circle. Again, this one was 0.5. And then to create these lines, we actually used the line tool. And I made 2 lines, one on either side of kind of this snowman looking thing. You just got to make sure that it's long enough so that, oops, you know, I don't want that to happen. If you just saw that, my line was kind of constrained. So you see how that orange line comes up? You don't want that. You don't want to constrain this in any way. You want it to be a free line. So I'm just going to extend it out a little bit further like that. So it's not constrained. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take these lines and we're going to attach them to the circles using the tangent tool. And to use the tangent tool, you click the line, then you click the circle. You click the line, and then you click the circle. And then you'll see there their tangent. Same thing to the other side. Click the line, click the circle, click the line, click the big circle. For whatever reason, that wasn't working very good. Let me try it again. There we go. All right, so we have another dimension here that's 1.25. You can see this. This is from center of the big circle to the center of the small circle. That's 1.25. So I'm going to use my dimension tool and click on the center of the small circle, click the center of the big circle, and we're going to make that 1.25. And I think my computer's being a little finicky today. All right, so that's 1.25. So you can see that it's kind of matching up now. We have to use this trim tool, our scissors, just to get rid of these extra lines. Along with these ones up here on top, we don't need these. We'll get rid of those. Let's get rid of the small circle. And I think that's good enough. That'll extrude just fine. So we're going to need to also add this small circle in the middle for our axle. And again, that's going to be 0.5, the same as the hex cam. All right, now we're ready to extrude it. So I'm just going to hit the extrude. All right, and we extruded these 0.25. All right, there we are. Now we're ready to add these to our assembly. So we got our pair cam, we got a hex cam, axle, our follower. So we go to our assembly. And let me do this assembly with just the box. So now that we have the box, we need to add the axle. All right, we're going to put that in. We're going to need our hex cam, and we're going to need our pair cam. So bring those in for now. All right, so for our axle, we're going to use a revolute mate, because we want this to be able to revolve. So to use my revolute mate, I'm going to click on the circle at the end of my cylinder, or my axle. Then I'm going to click on this circle over here on my box, and you can see that it's now attached. And if I hit play, you'll see that it actually rotates the way we want it to. Okay, green check mark that. Let's go ahead and add some cams. So these cams, we want them to be glued to our axle. So we're going to actually use a fasten mate. So for our fasten mate, we're going to click on the circle over here. Then we'll click again this circle here. And we'll notice that it's not in the right place. So we're going to have to use an offset right here. And I'm going to offset along the z-axis 5/3. 5 divided 3. And that's the wrong direction, but no problem. All I got to do is put a negative at the front of this, negative 5/3, and it'll go switch back to the other direction. So that's now fastened. I should be able to grab this and revolute it. Let me see if it'll animate. I might have missed a step somewhere. Alright, so I found a problem with my connection. I went back to my fastened and I deleted these, and then I tried it again, and second time it seemed to work okay. So if your cam does not spin when you rotate the axle, you might have to do that. Go back and figure out what happened. So I'm gonna now connect the hex. So what I think I did was, I think you need to click inside this circle, or is it, no, wait, for this one you click on the circle. Then I think for this one you have to click inside the circle. And I think that's what needs to get done. Let me see. So now I'm going to go 2 times 5/3 for my dimension. That way it moves over. Oops, negative. And let me see if that one will spin. I'm going to grab my axle. Alright, that's good. That does spin indeed. Alright, so the next thing we need to do now that our axle is spinning our cams is to add the followers. So I'm going to insert 2 followers. 1, 2. Oops. Alright, to do the followers, we're going to have to use a slider mate. So find the slider mate. We're going to click the bottom of our follower, and then we're going to come over here and click on the top of our circle. There we go. When you move this up and down, it should slide. It doesn't go side to side, it only goes up and down. So go ahead and position that so it's just above the cam so we can still see it. Next thing we're going to do is use a tangent mate, which is this guy right here. For the tangent mate, we're going to come over here and click on the circle. Make sure that your circle is clicking on the actual circle, not inside of it, but on the circle itself. Once you click that, you're going to come over here and click on the edge of your cam. All right, you'll see those two get attached. You hit that green check mark. I'm going to spin my axle, and you can see that follower bouncing up and down right at the exact time. Alright, so that's good. So repeat those steps for the other follower and you'll be done. Good luck. Good job. Turn this in. We'll catch you later. Bye.